what's up? Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good?
Speaking of recession, what are the three final signs we are heading into a recession?
Segues are amazing. Number one, massive layoffs. Like when we're seeing the top 20 companies in the world, like Apple has slowed down hiring and any spending outside of research and development that they're going to begin to cut
for the year.
That's scary. That is scary.
A hiring freeze for a year.
It's tough. For those of you who don't know, that's not good. When we start to see companies have liquidity issues and talk about potential bankruptcy. So to see the issue with like FTX and CoinDesk pop up, which I think Sam Friedman is crypto's version of Buffett. So to hear any rumbling of them potentially have issues, that really terrified me. I was like, I can't believe they're having issues now. Will they rebound? Will they be okay? Will they be able to get capital? Yes, but we shouldn't be having any concerns about liquidity inside of a company that big and with a team that is that smart. And also when I'm seeing small businesses are not able to pay their rent, so if the biggest companies in the world are laying off 13 to 20% of their workforce, small businesses have to lay off 70% just to stay afloat. And still politically, there's no one who's really given a plan to say, here is how things are going to be better. Like the entire economy has been run into the ground. We've sold off some major assets in the United States of America. We are not innovating fast enough. Most of the toll roads we've sold away. Most of the waterways we sold away. And the most technological thing that we've gotten in terms of innovation was reiterations of AOL Instant Messenger. Like IG is just a remix of Pinterest. We haven't had the innovation that we should have had for all the capital that has flown into all these companies. And I said it earlier in my story, even with the NFT market, and that was supposed to be the great savior, you don't hear one company that is publicly traded talking about using NFTs to save their company right now, or Web3. A lot of that was a crocker. Like a lot of these companies are going to die. And I know, Mike clipped this up, Nikki clipped this up. I know people are not going to like the take, but in 3 months, people are going to say that I'm right about it. We have to find new innovative ways to be able to bring in revenue. And I think I know The Lean Startup is a good book, but I think in this upcoming decade, we're going to have like super lean companies. And I'm talking 10 to 25 people in a company, and they may make $200-300 million in a year. After that report came out on Apple, immediately the first conversation a lot of people started texting me about is like, how can we run a multi-billion-dollar company with only 100 employees? Like, it's too much spending. Everyone is treating their budgets for their business like cash money in 2000 and 1999. Too much spending. And it's led to the degradation of America's best companies and our country. Look how much debt we have. It's terrifying. And it's going to get passed on to our kids and grandkids. We need better leadership. We need better systems. We need better innovation. Ian is not running for president.
They said my mic is low.
Yeah. Hit
the thing on the focus, right?
Yeah, turn the one up a little bit.
This?
Yeah, turn it up.
It was loud when you talked about Herschel Walker.
He suddenly has regressed.
How do I sound? How do I sound now, ladies and gentlemen?
Better.
A little better. So they said you sound good.
All right.
For the 99 and the 2000.
Can we take a couple questions before we wrap this? We haven't done this.
Yes.
Let's do it.
We're so happy to be back live. I love New York, man. I want to move out here.
New York, the city that never sleeps.
That is true.
All right, let's do this. My brother. Let's see. Let's get my dog up here. King Arthur.
I knew it. Yes.
Unmute yourself.
Peace. What's good, bro?
Man, good to hear your voice.
First, I would like to say congratulations on your newborn. I want to congratulate you, man.
Right.
That is welcome to fatherhood. I'm hoping you are
appreciate
enjoying it, my brother.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
So the question I had is given that we have the situation that we're going into, Ian, where you say, tech is taking a beating, everybody is overspent. What are those industries do you think that we should be looking to invest in and or build out that are going to actually, be profitable? Because I mean, at the end of the day, money is still going to be made.
Absolutely.
So where are those places that people should look to invest? What industries and what industry should people be looking to start small businesses in and or work for as we move forward?
Damn, you ask great questions, man. We need to have you on every week. My two favorite sectors outside of tech is number one, healthcare, and number two, biotech. So biotech is a little bit more risky, but healthcare for sure. Eli Lilly, McKesson, Ecolab, United Healthcare will be like the top four. I'm looking at. I mean,
you took Stryker out of your top.
Oh, Stryker's in there too. I can't leave them out. All right. So those would be like everyone in chat. You can put those 5 in. Biotech is a little bit more risky, so you have to do a lot more research. As far as companies to build a business in, financial services is the number one. Now, and I've tweeted this publicly. The first company that can give a 20% return for 10 years straight will be the first $5 trillion company on earth. So if you want a big, big, grandiose idea, no one has kind of cracked that code, and I think I have a ideation on how to do it. Secondly, I think that the biggest businesses are going to be the one that solves the problems. And Art, we've talked about this before, but it has to get back to basics of what problem can you solve at scale. One is education. I like Coursera. I like those kind of apps, but if we can get a certificate like education, let's say from like a Harvard or a Penn or Morehouse, but distill that information to kids ages 3 to 8 and make it in a super short form, multi-billion-dollar idea.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
hey, Arthur.
Yes, sir.
You know why I'm smiling, right?
Why is that?
We just had this conversation the other day.
Yeah, me and Troy didn't have this conversation. Like,
that's crazy.
There's little things that people need to tweak, even on the crypto side. Like the promise and premise of crypto is amazing. Even if they just told their customer base like what the drawdown was, because most people aren't even looking at drawdown. But if you can have better risk management, if a company can for real produce 100% a year for 3 or 4 years, like El Salvador made a push for Bitcoin to become like the predominant currency, and it failed. But what if they would have called it at 20,000? By 2026, if it did go to 116, he would look like a genius, and then probably could forcefully go take over other countries. That's why I'm like, price matters so much in everything. But those are just a couple ideas.
I know it's only supposed to be one question, but can I get a follow-up, fellas?
Of course, you family, go ahead.
All right. So given that you pointed towards healthcare, biotech, and those types of industries, generally, those are the industries that, they require a degree in order for you to move forward substantially, either in healthcare and in the medical field. I mean, even as a nurse, you have to go to college. Mm-hmm. And so obviously, we've been in this movement over the last 3 to 5 years, kind of pushing the not necessarily to say that the college degree isn't important, but to say that there are other alternatives. Given that those are the two industries that and you mentioned education that you feel are very important. Do you think that it behooves our community to reconsider the importance of that college education? Because how do we move into biotech and the healthcare if we don't have those people with degrees able to actually do the work within those industries?
I would argue if people are not trying to, well, let me phrase this kindly first. Do you think enough people in our community want to move into the healthcare and biotech space?
I would say that. I would say no. I would say we underappreciate the need to move in. One, as it applies to our community, as much as our community actually needs it. And then two, just like you said, in terms of the profit opportunity, I think that our community has kind of been jaded to a certain extent to pursue those types of fields. But I think given the transition that we're going through right now, it's imperative, you know what I mean? It's imperative that we move into those situations. So one, we can take care of ourselves. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you want to go to a doctor that's Black, somebody has to be a Black doctor. So, I mean, if I always say, if somebody has to fight the war, and if it's not your kids, you know, if we're not encouraging our kids to go be doctors, who ultimately becomes a doctor? If we don't encourage our kids to become professors, then who becomes the professor? And so I think that we're reaching a point now where our community, while we have now, in large part, thanks to you guys, have realized that education is much broader than college, and we must maintain that push. I think we have to find a balance now where we must take a strategic stance in moving into those industries. Otherwise, we leave ourselves vulnerable to the point where the healthcare and the education industries boom once again, and we're beholden to other communities to provide the healthcare that we need and to provide the education that we need. And we're in the exact same situation we've been in for the last 100 years.
I mean, I have an idea. Hypothetically, let's say if we can get 100,000 people to go to, let's take a Google, and we can say, hey, we see that Apple is, because of the watch and the data that you guys have been collecting, or they've been collecting, is going to make a big push into healthcare. And all of a sudden, because of 2020 and COVID, Google said, hey, if you have a certificate, you won't even need a degree. So if we can get 100,000 of us to say, hey, we know search is up 57.5%, year-over-year growth in cloud is up 57.62%, YouTube growth is up 46.9%. But if we can get 100,000 of us to get certificates, and we can now make a Google Health division, that will be your second biggest revenue driver next to search, which you'd be behind this initiative. Going back to everything that we bring to a company has to be dollar driven. Now, if we go and talk to Sergey and the board there, we have to come in droves and see that people will be able to pass, and then we'll be able to build a pipeline for tech, Google in this example, to dominate the industry. Because if you don't think that Google isn't looking at what Apple is doing and saying that I can take out Lilly or McKesson or Stryker in comparison with all the data that they have, and even though with all the numbers and growth that YouTube has had, the overall growth for the business year over year is only 34%. The healthcare space alone will put them probably at 83% year over year growth and give them a 100-year path to prosperity. Then we may have a solution.
This that Red Panda Anthem. Ian, what's up? This that Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good? Red Panda Anthem. Your boy going up. I know they can't stand it.